Love is just a click away. Welcome to the Lover List, where we bring you the best love, dating, and relationship stories Reddit has to offer. Don't be a love spectator. Like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications to join the love parade. Is unprotected sex the new normal? 29 male, heterosexual. Hi. First off, this is not a p***rn fantasy post or anything. Actually, it is rather dangerous. I use mostly online dating. Most of my, male 29, dates over Tinder or Bumble in the past months, females 24 to 31, wanted to have sex with me without a condom and wanted me to finish inside as well, either on the first or second date. All educated women with college degrees and well-paying jobs, probably more than mine in most cases. I earn slightly above average. Unfortunately, I can't say that I always declined. I do get tested regularly and I always have STD testing kits at home. So far nothing bad happened, but I am concerned that I will lack willpower to enforce condom use as my mind gets used to this being the norm. It has also happened to me that they just shove my penis in or sit on it without protection before a discussion even starts. 10 years ago when I was in university, sex without protection was unthinkable to most people and basically every girl asked if I had some on me. Unprotected oral was always the standard, though, at least in my experience. However, what is your experience with this? Is this the new norm or do I keep attracting the wrong kind of women? I do have shirtless pics on my accounts, ripped, six-pack, but other than that nothing too sexual. I do flirt a bit in the chats and on the dates I escalate very quickly to making out. TLDR, women asking for or rushing into unprotected sex is more common than using protection with my online dates. Curious about your experiences. Honestly, yeah, I, 27 male, always had the similar approach of always using condoms, at least until you're really close with someone and you've discussed having unprotected, along with prior STI testing and an IUD or something, but basically half the women I've been with have wanted to go straight for it. I just tell them straight up I don't do that so early on in a relationship and they usually respect it. There is no way I'm risking a baby or an STI for that. Smart move. Talking about boundaries is so important because of this. LOL WTF y'all crazy, thank God the women I meet are for using protection. No, I got HPV, the ugly kind, had to remove cancer cells because of that. If you have minimum respect for you and your partner, go buy a box of condoms. Take care of yourself. Please viral S.T.D.S are permanent. The end. Not all STDs are permanent. 8 pathogens are linked to the greatest incidence of STIs. Of these, 4 are currently curable: syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, and trichomoniasis. Other 4 are incurable viral infections: hepatitis B, herpes simplex virus, HSV, HIV, and human papillomavirus, HPV. I am finding that men don't want to use condoms, so I lie about not being on birth control to make sure they want to use condoms. I hate that we need an excuse. I literally say, in advance usually, but I'll say in the act as well, no condom, no sex. Simple. I'm in a relationship, but I have an I.U.D. If I ever break up with my boyfriend for whatever reason, I've already said to myself that I'll likely lie about not being on birth control because I don't want anyone trying to say no condom is fine, and if for whatever reason dude is like it's okay I'll pull out, I can just say well then you'll be okay paying child support, right? Just need to keep all of our options clear here. Not sure if it was normal or not, but I had a STD scare before COVID started. I knew the person really well but still probably should have used a condom. I ended up having something else that wasn't an STD but is a lifelong condition that had nothing to do with sex but can be triggered by it. I talked to my doctor and she said there are strains of syphilis going around that are becoming antibiotic resistant. You think that alone would get more people to use condoms? I don't know. I know lots of girls that go bareback with no hesitation. It disturbs me. I remember about 5 years ago I was flirting with a coworker and gave her a ride home. Total time we'd interacted had to be less than 4 hours, and I mean all interactions combined. I did initiate and things escalated more than I imagined they would. It looked like sex was about to happen and I honestly was not ready for it. I was much less experienced then and felt uncomfortable moving that fast. I thought I could politely end it by telling her I didn't have a condom, which was true. She in turn told me it's okay, she should be safe. I asked her what she meant. She said she shouldn't be able to get pregnant this time of the month. I was horrified. I did not K her. You wanna know awkward? Try telling a naked girl who wants to f you that it's not happening. I've noticed this too. May have to do with the fact that a lot of the younger people don't really remember the AIDS epidemic. We were all scared shitless into wearing condoms from a young age in the early 90s. I don't have any data to back this up, but just a hunch. For context, I'm 36 male. There is a trend away from protection these days. Initially, I thought it was generational because it was mostly younger women, but I have found it to be true of women in their 40s too. The risks are real, but the growing consensus is that condoms suck. And I hear this from women. One woman told me semen was an antidepressant for women, and I thought she was joking in a sex makes you feel better way. Then she told me to Google it. Wow. That's funny you say that, because I've actually heard the opposite in some circles, and that some people are being so careful that they're using condoms even in committed relationships when the woman is on birth control. But that also might be a rapidly decreasing trend, because in contrast, I've also been hearing about more and more unplanned pregnancies and /STIs going around, so I think you might be right. I'll admit, I hate condoms. It really is a night and day difference between condom and raw. But you're playing with fire if you have random hookups without protection. Probably depends on your country or region, perhaps influenced by STI rates, cultural influences, etc. In the Midwest/US, condom use seems to be frowned on. I'm on birth control, and most guys use that as an argument to not have to use condoms. I don't even care if you've been tested. I don't have sex without them unless we're in a relationship. It's just a personal boundary of mine. But anyways, a guy took off his condom when I was flipped over without my consent and ended up giving me an STI. It was one of the hardest periods of my life as I hadn't been sexually active for very long. All of my friends have unprotected sex. They're not even on birth control, and it just makes me so nervous for our generation. That douchebag gave it to you on purpose. What a shitty guy. Women in my day wouldn't dare have sex with a man who didn't wear a condom. Not to sound like an old dude even though I am, but there is a thing called AIDS as well as other things that can murder your life. Drug-resistant chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis, to name a few, and of course herpes. Not even condoms can completely protect against herpes, and at least crabs are treatable. I said this and got downvoted. I'm not sure why. Are people not aware that STDs are in fact spreading and changing and becoming antibacterial resistant? Like yes, the treatable strains still exist, but there's also a rise in STDs in general and drug-resistant ones, and some you have for life. They want to end the stigma so bad, but I also don't want to take antibiotics for the rest of my life. Or just even if temporarily, bother with being infected at all and having to deal with the trouble of it. Safe sex equals good sex. Be safe. Be truthful. Get checked. Have fun. For many people, this is true. Whether it is all about impulsive sex, planning to experience a few short-term thrills based upon risky sexual practices, a personal preference for non-barrier contraception/natural contraception/no birth control at all, or habitually hiding behind the excuse of being a bit tipsy/very drunk and thirsty for sex as excuses for being sexually reckless. In some circles within the UK and AMP, USA, sex without condoms has been prevalent for a long time. Most of the ex-BFs over 40 have told me that they have never used them. Dude, what are you even doing? You aren't old enough to remember when HIV was discovered, but there were people passing it around on purpose to lessen the stigma, because if everyone has it but nobody can be looked down on for having it. These women are either trying to have your baby or give you herpes or something. This is not smart. You can herpes even with protection. Deaf can be smarter by being careful. And also the herpes thing, majority of people never have symptoms, so chances are if you have had say 5 partners, someone, knowingly or unknowingly, has it. Before my partner and I had sex for the first time, we talked about our status and birth control/condom use. I have an IUD and he said he was fine with condoms. But then the first time we were intimate there was no condom. I thought about asking for one in the moment, but knew we were okay both on the pregnancy and the STI front. I also hooked up with a friend, prior to the relationship. We hadn't discussed sex prior. When I asked for a condom, he didn't have one, but he was clean and I trusted him. Plus, I have an IUD. So I felt safe. So I guess for me, if I know/feel safe about it, I'm okay without a condom since I have an IUD. Could it be that people are having less sex and thus condoms and STD are not the rage they were in the 80s and 90s? Statistics shows that Gen Z are literally having less ES and less sexual partners overall. Aside from the classic couples, I think that there is a small fraction of people who have lots of sex and a lot who don't at all, the latter being predominantly men. I know guys that can get laid all the time and guys in their late 20s that are still virgins. With women, I feel like it's more evenly distributed. OP, if they jump straight to unprotected sex with you, think about all the other guys they've likely done the same with. You've been lucky so far, but at some point you will contract an STI or knock someone up. Seriously bro, it's not worth it. I'm AM 29, I found that more often than not girls would rather not use a condom. A lot of them state I'm allergic to latex or I'm on the pill. I hear you though. As a man, it's hard to not just go with the flow. Interesting to hear. Never heard the latex allergy argument. When I had the discussion, it usually goes into the direction of you think I'm dirty? Don't you trust me? Put a condom on dude, it's simple. It's like quit smoking, it's simple. To be clear, I never suggest unprotected sex and I always reach for the condom. But resisting temptation is not that simple, at least not for me. I am ashamed of it. That's why I wanted to hear other men's stories and how they deal with it. I want to be better, believe me. This is not a good comparison by any means. You're comparing a physical addiction to your lack of willpower to be unable to resist having a few minutes of unprotected sex. Yes, it is easy to resist temptation. Would you rather deal with 18 years of child support or a lifetime of dealing with an incurable STD for a few minutes of sex? This isn't about being a better person, and it isn't about judging you for your choices. Your choices are your own to make, but we can only encourage you to find the willpower to make smarter ones because some people on here may have already dealt with the consequences of the same thing you are dealing with. I always put the condom on bro, unless it's a committed monogamous relationship and we agree that no condom is okay. Met one woman like you described about 6 years ago, and I got burned for it. The only time I didn't use my brain, bro. Thankfully, what I caught was treatable and easy to cure, but it sucks to deal with those extra appointments when it was easily avoidable in the first place. I hear what you're saying. My past 3 flings mentioned either the first time or by the second time we slept together that a condom was not necessary. These were educated, sweet women ranging from fairly new to exceptionally sexually experienced. I even asked a couple and friends with their thoughts, and they both said neither of them had used condoms since they were 18 years old. Strange world we are seeing here. Did you have the feeling they offered this because they thought it was something you wanted? No, in fact I was the one staunchly rejecting the idea except one where I saw it evolving into a serious relationship. But like you, as a man, you've got a good-looking woman asking you if you want that freedom. It's quite difficult to say no, and I've been guilty of saying yes to that freedom after enough pressing. Glad you could join us for another episode of relationship stories that'll make you feel all the feels. If these tales moved you, please like, comment, and subscribe. Turning on notifications will ensure you never miss a beat of these heartwarming stories.